Your soulmate is ready to tell you everything. What happened last night changed everything. My beloved child, something changed last night, and your soulmate can no longer keep everything hidden. A truth they have been carrying quietly has finally become too powerful to ignore. They replayed certain moments, remembered certain words, and suddenly understood something about you that they had been trying not to admit even to themselves. And now, they are ready to tell you everything. Don't skip, because what happened last night was not simply another passing moment. It pushed them toward a decision they never expected to make this soon. The biggest surprise is that this decision is not about moving further away from you. It is about finally becoming clear about what you mean to them. They realized that pretending everything was ordinary was becoming impossible. Something inside them shifted, and once that realization arrived, they could not return to the way they were thinking before, but here is where everything becomes even more surprising. Your soulmate did not reach this realization because someone convinced them. It came from a quiet moment when they were completely alone with their thoughts. Suddenly, memories of you started connecting in a way they never had before, the conversations, the small details, the moments when your presence stayed in their mind much longer than expected. And then one thought became impossible to dismiss. What if you are the person they were never supposed to overlook? Stay till the end, because this is only the beginning of what last night revealed. They started questioning why your name carries a different feeling, why certain memories of you return at unexpected moments, and why imagining the future somehow keeps bringing their thoughts back to you. That realization surprised even them. They had spent so much time searching for answers outside themselves, only to discover that the answer may have been quietly growing inside them all along. And now they know silence cannot continue forever. Something huge is waiting for you, because the strongest part of this story has not been revealed yet. Your soulmate is preparing to do something different from what you may expect, and last night gave them the clarity to finally consider it seriously. They are no longer asking themselves whether their feelings deserve attention. They are asking what happens if they finally become completely honest about them. Don't skip. There is one particular realization from last night that changed the entire direction of their thoughts, and when you hear what it is, everything before this moment will begin to make sense. This is where uncertainty starts turning into intention. This is where hidden feelings start becoming impossible to disguise. And this is where your soulmate's next move begins taking shape. Stay till the end, because what they finally understood about you could be the revelation that changes everything that comes next. There is one detail from last night that your soulmate keeps returning to, because it changed the way they see everything between you. In one quiet moment, they suddenly understood that what they feel around you is different from anything they expected. It was not one dramatic event that created this realization, it was the accumulation of all those small moments they had tried to explain away. Your words staying in their thoughts. Your presence feeling strangely unforgettable. The way memories of you appeared when everything around them became quiet. And then came the thought that completely shifted their perspective. Perhaps they have been searching for clarity while the answer has been standing right in front of them. Don't skip, because that realization was only the first layer. Something even bigger followed, and it made them question every reason they had given themselves for remaining silent. They began wondering what would happen if they stopped hiding behind uncertainty and finally acknowledged what their heart had been trying to tell them, and then the story took an unexpected turn. Instead of thinking only about what has already happened between you, your soulmate started imagining what could happen next. For the first time, their thoughts moved beyond memories and toward possibility. They pictured an honest conversation. They imagined finally saying the words they had repeatedly held back. They wondered how different everything might become if they allowed you to see the side of them they have kept private. Stay till the end, because there is still one major realization they have not fully acted upon. Last night showed them that waiting forever could mean allowing something meaningful to remain unfinished. That thought stayed with them. Suddenly, the questions changed. It was no longer, should I keep these feelings to myself? It became, what if I finally tell them what they truly mean to me? And once that question entered their mind, it refused to disappear. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is moving closer to a moment of complete honesty. What happened last night did more than change their mood, it changed their direction. They now understand that certain connections cannot be understood by endlessly analyzing them from a distance. Eventually, someone has to become honest enough to discover what is actually possible. Don't skip, because their next realization may be the most surprising one yet. They have begun to understand that you may have affected their life far more deeply than they ever allowed themselves to admit. The little moments were never as little as they seemed. The memories were never meaningless. And the feelings they kept placing aside continued returning for a reason. Stay till the end. The next thing your soulmate realized is exactly why they are finally becoming ready to tell you everything, and once that truth comes forward, the entire meaning of last night changes. What your soulmate understood next was something they could no longer explain away. Last night, as they replayed everything in their mind, they noticed a pattern they had somehow missed before. Whenever they tried to imagine completely moving forward without acknowledging what they feel for you, something inside them remained unfinished. That realization surprised them. It made them understand that this connection was never only about one conversation, one memory, or one passing emotion. You had become connected to the way they imagined possibility itself. Don't skip, because this is where their thoughts changed completely. Instead of asking why you kept returning to their mind, they finally asked a much bigger question: what is this connection trying to show me? And the answer they felt was impossible to ignore. They realized that they had been protecting themselves from uncertainty so carefully that they were also preventing themselves from discovering something extraordinary. Last night changed that. For the first time, curiosity became stronger than hesitation, and suddenly they wanted to know what could happen if they stopped holding everything inside. Then came the realization they were least prepared for. Your soulmate began remembering the smallest details about you, things they never intentionally tried to memorize, yet somehow remembered perfectly. A phrase you once used. The way a certain conversation made them feel. A moment that seemed ordinary at the time but suddenly carried a completely different meaning. That was when they understood something powerful. Their feelings had been growing quietly while they were busy trying to understand them. Stay till the end, because something huge is waiting for you. Your soulmate is no longer looking only backward. Their attention is turning toward what they could actually do next. They have begun imagining what it would feel like to finally remove the uncertainty between you and speak with complete honesty. And here is the surprising part: they are not thinking about revealing only one small feeling. They want you to understand the entire story, what they noticed, what they misunderstood, what changed inside them, and why last night finally brought everything into focus. But the biggest revelation is still ahead, because one final thought from last night changed the meaning of everything that came before it. Your soulmate suddenly realized that perhaps the reason they could never completely dismiss this connection was not because they lacked answers, it was because they had been avoiding the one answer that required courage. They care about what happens between you. They care about how you see them. And somewhere beneath all their unanswered questions, they have been wondering whether you might feel something meaningful too. Don't skip. Stay till the end. Something huge is waiting for you, because this realization has created a completely new question in their mind. If they finally tell you everything, what could begin between you afterward? That question is becoming impossible for them to ignore. And what they are considering doing next may be the clearest sign yet that last night truly changed everything. Now the truth becomes even deeper, because your soulmate has reached the point where simply thinking about you is no longer enough. Last night gave them a kind of clarity they were not expecting. They realized that every time they pushed their feelings aside, those feelings eventually returned stronger and clearer. Every unanswered question brought them back to the same place. Every memory seemed to point towards something they had not yet allowed themselves to explore. Don't skip, because the most surprising part is not that they have feelings, it is what they are beginning to understand about those feelings. They are realizing that you represent something different to them, a possibility they genuinely do not want to leave unexplored. And suddenly, remaining silent feels more difficult than becoming honest. They have started wondering whether one sincere conversation could change everything between you. Stay till the end, because what they are considering saying is much bigger than anything they originally planned. Here is where last night truly changed the direction of this story. Your soulmate stopped asking themselves whether the connection was meaningful and started asking whether they were finally ready to acknowledge it. That is a completely different question. They imagined looking at you without hiding behind uncertainty. They imagined telling you why certain moments with you stayed with them. They imagined explaining why they sometimes became quiet when there was actually so much they wanted to express. Something huge is waiting for you, because they are beginning to understand that honesty does not require knowing exactly what happens afterward. It only requires being truthful about what exists right now. And what exists inside them has become impossible to dismiss. The shocking realization from last night was simple but powerful. They do not want unanswered questions to become the final chapter of something that might still have an extraordinary beginning, and there is still one secret thought they have not fully confronted yet. Your soulmate has started wondering whether you noticed the connection before they did. Whether you sensed those quiet changes. Whether you ever wondered why their energy around you sometimes felt different. Don't skip. This question matters because it is pushing them closer to their next move. They are beginning to see that telling you everything may not simply reveal their feelings, it may finally reveal what has been quietly developing between both of you. Stay till the end, because the next realization takes this story somewhere completely unexpected. Last night did not only make your soulmate understand how much you matter to them. It made them recognize exactly what they could lose by never finding out what this connection could become. And that realization is now pushing them toward the moment they once thought they would keep postponing. But what happened next inside your soulmate's heart was even more unexpected, because they suddenly stopped thinking about all the reasons they had remained uncertain and focused on one powerful truth. Despite everything, their thoughts kept returning to you. Last night made that impossible to ignore. They remembered moments that once seemed ordinary and realized those moments had quietly become some of the memories they valued most. Your words had stayed with them. Your presence had left an impression they could not simply erase. And then came the realization that changed their entire perspective. They may have underestimated how deeply this connection had affected them. Don't skip, because this is where everything begins moving toward the revelation you have been waiting for. They are no longer wondering whether something meaningful exists. They are wondering why they waited so long to acknowledge it. Something huge is waiting for you, because the answer they discovered last night is beginning to influence what they want to do next. For the first time, your soulmate started imagining what complete honesty with you might actually feel like. Not hints. Not half-finished sentences. Not another moment where important words remain unspoken. They imagined finally telling you why they remembered certain things about you, why their thoughts returned to you during quiet moments, and why something about this connection always seemed unfinished. Stay till the end, because there is a surprising reason they are suddenly considering this now. Last night made them realize that clarity does not always arrive before someone takes a step forward. Sometimes clarity appears because they finally become willing to take that step. And that changed everything. Your soulmate began seeing the possibility that one honest conversation could answer questions they have carried for far too long. They are not expecting perfection. They simply want truth. And the truth they are becoming ready to express is much bigger than anything they previously allowed themselves to say. Then one final thought appeared, and this is the thought that may explain their next move. Your soulmate wondered what they would feel if they looked back someday and realized they had an opportunity to tell you everything but never did. That question stayed with them. Suddenly, silence no longer seemed comfortable. It seemed like an unfinished story. Don't skip. Something huge is waiting for you. They are beginning to understand that whatever happens next, they want it to come from honesty rather than endless wondering. And this is where the story takes its strongest turn yet. Your soulmate may already know exactly what they want to tell you first. There is one truth about how they see you that they have kept completely inside, and last night brought it closer to the surface than ever before. Stay till the end, because when that truth finally comes forward, you will understand why everything changed in a single night, and why their next move could be closer than anyone expects. And now comes the truth your soulmate could no longer hide from themselves. Last night, after everything became quiet, they finally admitted something they had avoided putting into words. You are not easy for them to forget because what they feel around you is not ordinary to them. That realization changed the entire story. Suddenly, the memories made sense. The unanswered questions made sense. Even those moments when they tried to focus on everything except you began to make sense. Don't skip, because this is where their next move starts becoming clearer. They are realizing that waiting for a perfect moment may only keep them trapped inside the same questions. Something huge is waiting for you, because for the first time, they are seriously imagining themselves breaking that pattern. They want clarity. They want honesty. And more than anything, they want to discover whether the connection they have been feeling could become something real instead of remaining an unanswered possibility. Yet there is another revelation that surprised them even more. Your soulmate realized that what they want to tell you is not simply, "I have been thinking about you." That would barely explain what changed last night. What they truly want you to understand is that their entire perspective shifted when they imagined their future and noticed how naturally you appeared inside that picture. They wondered what conversations with you might feel like without uncertainty standing between you. They imagined knowing you more deeply, understanding the things you rarely say, and finally allowing you to understand them too. Stay till the end, because this thought led directly to the biggest question they have asked themselves so far: what if this connection deserves a real chance? Once that question appeared, they could not simply forget it. It turned everything from a distant feeling into a possibility they could actually choose to explore. Something huge is waiting for you, because your soulmate is approaching the moment where thoughts may finally become action. They have spent enough time replaying what happened, questioning what they feel, and wondering why you remain so strongly in their mind. Now their attention is shifting toward what comes next. Don't skip. There is still one final realization that could determine everything. Your soulmate understands that telling you the truth could change the connection forever, but keeping everything hidden would leave them wondering what might have happened. And last night, for the first time, they discovered which possibility weighs more heavily on their heart. Stay till the end, because the answer is pushing them toward a choice they once kept postponing. The next chapter is no longer about what they secretly feel. It is about what they are finally becoming ready to do with those feelings. And that is where everything could change, and just when your soulmate thought they had understood everything, one final realization appeared that completely changed the meaning of last night. They understood that this was never only about missing you, remembering you, or wondering about you. It was about the fact that something inside them kept choosing your presence even when they tried to think logically about everything else. That truth surprised them more than they expected. Don't skip, because this is where the story reaches a completely different level. Your soulmate began looking back at every small sign they had ignored, every moment when your name instantly changed their mood, every conversation they secretly wished had lasted longer, and every time they wondered what you were thinking without ever asking. Suddenly, those moments were no longer separate pieces. They formed one clear picture. And that picture showed them something they could not deny anymore: you have become far more important to them than they ever planned. Something huge is waiting for you, because realizing this did not make them want to hide, it made them want to finally become honest. Then their thoughts shifted from feelings to timing. Your soulmates started asking themselves why this realization had become so powerful now. Why last night? Why did everything suddenly become clearer after so much uncertainty? And the answer was surprisingly simple. They finally stopped trying to control what they were supposed to feel and allowed themselves to recognize what was actually there. Stay till the end, because this is the moment that changed everything. They understood that they do not need every answer before taking one sincere step forward. They do not need to know exactly how the story will unfold before telling you that you matter. They simply need enough courage to stop pretending the question does not exist. And now that courage is growing. Your soulmate is imagining the moment when there are no hidden meanings, no guessing, no wondering what either of you truly meant. Just honesty. Just clarity. Just the truth they have carried quietly, becoming impossible to keep inside. But there is one more thing you need to hear, because this may be the strongest revelation of all. Your soulmate has begun to understand that their next move is not about creating some perfect dramatic moment. It is about finally giving this connection the honesty it deserves. Don't skip. Stay till the end. They have reached the point where the possibility of never knowing what could happen between you feels stronger than the uncertainty of finding out. And that is exactly why last night changed everything. Something huge is waiting for you, because the person who once kept questioning their feelings is now questioning their silence instead. They are closer than ever to revealing what has been hidden beneath all those quiet moments. And when they finally speak, the biggest surprise may not be what they tell you, it may be discovering how long those feelings had been growing before either of you truly understood what they could become. Now everything reaches the moment your soulmate has been quietly moving toward, because after last night, one truth became impossible for them to push aside: they do not want this connection to remain an unanswered question forever. They have replayed the memories, questioned their feelings, imagined the possibilities, and tried to understand why you continue to occupy such a unique place in their thoughts. And finally, something clicked. Don't skip, because this is the revelation everything has been building toward. Your soulmate realized that what they truly want is not another night spent wondering what you might feel. They want clarity. They want to know what happens when the distance between thoughts and words finally disappears. Something huge is waiting for you, because they are no longer simply thinking about telling you everything. They are beginning to imagine exactly how that moment could happen, what they would say first, and which truth they would finally stop keeping inside. Here is the surprising part: the first thing they want you to understand is not some complicated explanation. It is something much simpler and much more powerful: you mattered even during the moments when they appeared uncertain. You mattered when they were trying to understand themselves. You mattered when they remained quiet. And last night forced them to recognize just how consistently you had remained somewhere in their thoughts. Stay till the end, because this realization completely changed what they want from the next chapter. They no longer want assumptions speaking for them. They want their own words to do that. They want you to understand what changed, why they hesitated, and why they are finally seeing this connection differently. The once-in-a-lifetime realization was that some people enter our lives and become memories, while others quietly change the way we imagine what could come next. And your soulmate has started wondering whether you are that person for them. Something huge is waiting for you, because last night was not the ending of this story, it may have been the moment that finally redirected it. Don't skip. Your soulmate has reached a choice: continue wondering, or finally discover the truth. And everything they realized is pulling them toward honesty. Stay till the end, because this is what changed everything. They finally understood that the answer they had been searching for could never be found by thinking alone. At some point, the truth has to be spoken. A question has to be asked. A sincere step has to be taken. And now, after everything that happened inside their thoughts last night, your soulmate feels closer than ever to that step. The silence that once felt easier no longer feels complete. The uncertainty that once held them back is beginning to lose its power. And the truth they are ready to reveal may finally explain why this connection kept returning to their heart again and again.